Love is universal, but how humans expressed love, how they married, who they were allowed to love, and why they married at all, that has changed dramatically over thousands of years. Today, love is about choice, romance, chemistry, and personal happiness. But back then, love was often practical, strategic, dangerous, sacred, and sometimes completely unexpected. This is Back Then Love and Marriage, a journey through romance, traditions, and surprising truths from the ancient world. Long before dating apps, love letters, or candlelit dinners, relationships were shaped by survival. Marriage wasn't just about two people, it was about families, land, gods, power, bloodlines. In many ancient societies, marriage was arranged before love ever entered the picture, if it entered at all. Parents negotiated unions like contracts, weighing wealth, alliances, and reputation. But that doesn't mean love didn't exist. It just looked very different. In ancient Mesopotamia, one of the world's earliest civilizations, marriage was a legal agreement. Clay tablets recorded unions the way modern couples sign marriage certificates. A groom paid a bride price to the bride's family. In return, the bride brought a dowry, land, goods, or servants. Women could own property, run businesses, and even file for divorce. But fidelity, that expectation fell heavily on women. A husband's affairs were tolerated, a wife's could be deadly. Romance existed, but quietly, behind rules carved in stone. In ancient Egypt, love took a softer shape. Unlike many ancient cultures, Egyptian women had surprising freedom. They could choose their partners, inherit property, and leave unhappy marriages. Love poems from over 3,000 years ago still survive today. They speak of longing, affection, laughter, and desire. Couples held hands in artwork. They kissed in private. They believed marriage was meant to be joyful. And most remarkably, Egyptians believed love continued after death. Husbands and wives were buried together, reunited for eternity in the afterlife. But not all ancient love stories were gentle. In ancient Sparta, marriage was harsh, controlled, and deeply political. Spartan men lived in military barracks until age 30. Marriage was encouraged, but intimacy was limited. Brides had their hair cut short. They wore men's clothing, and on their wedding night, husbands would sneak away before dawn to return to the army. Love was secondary. Strong offspring for the state was the goal. Yet paradoxically, Spartan women had more authority and independence than most women in the ancient world. Power, not romance, defined attraction. In ancient Greece, love was complex and divided. Marriage existed mainly for producing legitimate heirs. Romantic passion? That often existed outside marriage. Men married young women chosen by their families, but emotional and intellectual intimacy was often found elsewhere. Greek society recognized multiple forms of love: eros, passion; philia, friendship; agape, duty; and sometimes forbidden desire. Women lived secluded lives. Men dominated public space. Marriage was a necessity. Love was optional. Then there was ancient Rome, where marriage became both political theater and personal ambition. Elite Romans married to gain influence. Divorce was common and surprisingly easy. Love affairs flourished openly. Poets wrote of obsession, heartbreak, and jealousy. Women in Rome could own wealth, influence politics behind the scenes, and remarry multiple times. Marriage was flexible, love was intense, and reputation was everything. In ancient India, love and marriage were deeply spiritual. Texts like the Vedas and later the Kama Sutra described love as sacred energy. Marriage was seen as a religious duty, a bond between families, ancestors, and gods. Arranged marriages were the norm, but mutual respect and affection were encouraged. Love was disciplined, guided, and ritualized. Marriage wasn't just about this life, it shaped future reincarnations. In ancient China, relationships were defined by harmony and hierarchy. Marriage joined families, not individuals. Romantic love was private, rarely spoken aloud. Wives were expected to obey husbands. Filial duty came before personal desire. Yet poetry tells another story of stolen glances, secret longing, and quiet heartbreak. Love existed in whispers. Across ancient cultures, marriage was rarely about choice. Women were often married young. Men gained power through unions. Love followed, or didn't. But despite rules, customs, and consequences, people still fell in love. They risked punishment. They wrote poems. They broke traditions. Because love, even back then, refused to disappear. So the next time you think love is complicated today, remember this. Back then, love survived contracts, empires, gods, and laws. And somehow, it still found a way.